Hello everyone, in today's video we're attempting to cross the English Channel in the Bleriot 9. This is an actual interesting historical event. Originally took place in July of 1909. It was the 25th of July to be exact, which is actually tomorrow's date, which is actually kind of neat when we go to review this one. It's an interesting adventure. This plane that we're going to be doing it in today is not the greatest plane. I apologize already for the weird random popping noises. Not the most sophisticated thing. I'm basically sitting on a piece of wood. I've got a little bark. Got a little kind of controls here. Got a fuel lever. We have a gas meter. You can see this thing is happily misfiring and sparking all over the place here, making a ton of racket. It is definitely a specialist airplane is what I'm going to call it today. That's definitely something to do. Well, one thing I will do is I will reduce the volume of all those snaps and pops. Hopefully that's a little bit better for everybody, so you don't have to listen to that the entire time. So anyway, we're going to try this. We recreated the whole conditions. We're going to create the little disaster that took place about halfway through it, which will be kind of fun for us. You went into really bad weather, and there's no compass or airspeed indicator or anything. We're in so much trouble. And one thing I will do to complicate things just a little bit more too is I'll bring a little bit of wind. Something I wasn't going to do originally. 6 knots. Let's make it 10 knots. So let's make it definitely interesting for us. And we'll kind of pull it out of the northeast there and make it kind of fun, blow us off course. So without further ado, let's attempt to cross the English Channel. Let's go. Here we go. Whoa. Oh my gosh. So this is an aircraft that required wing warping. So you actually twist the wing if you actually look at the side there. When I'm trying to get this thing in the air. Oh my gosh. Left foot, right foot. Oh my gosh. We are going to have a long flight today. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Okay. Happy place, happy place, happy flying place. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's stop. Oh, okay. Okay. This is a very, very not fun at all. Okay, we got it. We're under control. We got it under control. Okay. Okay. Relax. We just took off from Calais. There's the wind. All right, let's do it. Let's head to the English Channel here. And of course, this was the early days of aviation. So we had invented things like human factors, for example. So the fact that this would have been very, very early in the morning and the weather is less than optimum, to say the least, were just things that did not enter into it, which is kind of scary if you think, oh, don't you dare. I'm in complete control of this plane. You think I'm like jerking the controls around, but I'm actually holding the controls very steady. Oh my gosh. Okay, breathe in. Deep breath. We're going to England. We're going to get to England. Oh my gosh, are we actually going to make it to England? This is going to be a very interesting day. Deep breath. Relax. We need to take a right at some point because the channel is over that way. Whoa! Okay, Microsoft Turbulence, you make this interesting. The person who designed the handling on this thing, you also made it interesting. So this is going to be an adventure, and I don't look forward to it, but I also kind of look forward to getting to England. They got some good curry up there, so it should be pretty good for us. Top speed on this thing is about 40 knots on a good day. I think they got up to something like 80 kilometers per hour at one point, which just to give you an idea of just how successful it is. And you can see that every little gust of wind has a very strong tendency to basically tumble me here. And there's not a lot that I can do about it. It's just, like I said, part of the fun. That wind is just too much. I might actually tone down the turbulence in Flight Sim because this is going to be one heck of a project to get across here. Oh my goodness. Wow. This thing is involved. Now, apparently, based on the research that I completed, again, I've never been there, so I don't know exactly. There's the English Channel. Hey, we found the English Channel. We're not losing so far. What we do know, of course, is the fact that he spent most of his time flying at about 500 feet above the sea here. That was just kind of a general thing. And no, I'm not using external instruments. I'm not cheating. So, of course, it's going to suck. About 500 feet most of the journey. And, of course, the fun story here was he was basically competing with another pilot at the time. And when he was doing this whole flight here, he basically got up before the other guy did, and that's essentially why he was successful at crossing. Although the interesting thing is there's actually several crossing attempts before this particular moment in time where they were almost able to kind of get there as well, but things didn't necessarily go well for them on account of the fact that you have like a weather problem, or again, look at how reliable this aircraft is. You'd have an engine failure, and we have done videos with this particular plane before, giving you an idea of its lack of efficacy. I'm getting slowly better about it as I'm just kind of taking my time with the controls here, and you'll have to disregard the fact fact this is modern France. We don't have classic France at our disposal here. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tone that wind down a little bit. Like I was hoping it would add a little bit of drama, but unfortunately it's actually so effective, we might actually not get to England on account of the fact that we're basically going to get blown off course here. And that's going to make it very, very challenging, which again, in the real world, you'd have to put up with it a little bit more, but this is pretty early in the morning when we did this flight, and obviously they would not have risked it unless they had a pretty good feeling that they were actually going to make it here. All right, we're cruising across. Try to give you something. Calais is basically where we're sneaking up on here. World War II fans, so you're pretty knowledgeable about Calais there, so you have a pretty good idea. You've got your ports and everything kind of along the sides. Very, very famous, of course, World War II, World War I, for like a big place where they could import goods and supplies. A lot of really good stuff. Okay, this is much more manageable. One thing you can't see here is like kind of what my controls are doing, but I got kind of this thing going, as you can take a look here. And once you get some air moving under the wings, it's not so bad. And it's like I said, kind of a fun little journey. I had to use the RIP edition. I could have used like the more high performance version, but I am a masochist sometimes in these things. I'll let the nose come down a little bit. The center of the screen is actually, if you look at the triangle that makes up the top of my screen here, if I were to take my mouse, flat I think is actually here. Like I'm looking straight. So England's that way somewhere. So it'll be interesting to see when we finally do get there, kind of a thing. And getting probably, if I had to guess, just looking out the window, 40, maybe 35. I'm trying to work it out in my head here. Yeah, it's about that distance. Yeah, call it 35, 40 knots is roughly what my estimate here. A total flight time today, of course, is going to be about 30 minutes. That's roughly how long they took in the real world. It's about how long it's going to take us. Like I said, it'll be interesting. I'm going to try the best I can to kind of recreate some of the things that happened along the way, because that's part of the fun, right? Got my wing here. Oh, boy. Yeah, I've been to Paris. I've been to France, Paris, France, and as well as kind of the Versailles and all that stuff, kind of in the vicinity of France. Well, Paris, I should say. And these controls they're tempting me here. This is going to take a minute to get there. There we go. Looking out the front window, looks pretty good to me. And now we just kind of keep flying this direction until we see England. And one thing that bothers me a little bit is I have no idea what my fuel capacity is, or like, am I facing the right direction? I'm just going to cheat just a little bit here. I'm just kind of curious. Engine don't change. I guess I changed that when I wasn't supposed to. Oh, let's see. I got 11 gallons of gas. It's not like I can lean the mixture. One of the neat things with this one is you had a gas handle, and you had a pressure handle. Basically, you could manipulate them independent of each other. You could control the throttle and the fuel flow at the same time. I know you're saying, oh, that's just throttle and mixture. But this one is like manual. And of course, I get this thing started. Somebody had to run up front and basically give that thing a bunch of cranks to kind of get us going. And it's just, like I said, kind of a neat concept. So now that we're on our way, I'm going to skip time a little bit here to when the first major problem in the journey took place. Uh-oh. Oh, no. So we've been flying for a little while now. It's been pretty calm, cool, collected here. Yeah, we've got a problem. And that's the fact that I look around here and I notice there's a substantial amount of precipitation all around me. Now, I can already look over my right wing there, and I have a pretty good look of probably my ultimate destination here. So I'm going to start turning towards that particular heading there. I'm doing the best I can. I'm guessing that's... Again, I don't have binoculars or anything like that, but I recognize the cliffs of Dover when I see it, kind of a thing. So at the very least, it seems like I'm going in the right direction. But historically, what had happened at this particular point was it was a little bit worse than this. We've got these kind of broken clouds. It looked a little bit more like that. Not quite that heavy with the precipitation, of course. The precipitation would look a little bit more like, let's call it right there. Perfect. So you got to imagine our fearless Bleriot here. This is... I'm in an airplane with no attitude indicator, and of course, not only do I not have an attitude indicator, but it is now raining, and I'm getting very, very wet here. I have no direction indication, and this went on for quite some time. This was, I believe, it was about 10, 11 minutes before we actually was able to see anything. One thing Flight Sim doesn't do well here is it doesn't simulate that humidity, even though I've got maximum. So that little three-dimensional object there, that cliffs of Dover, we wouldn't see that. Basically, we would see the edge of the precipitation here, and that would be about the limitation of what we would achieve. So this went on for about 10 minutes or so in our fearless journey, and I was kind of cruising around, getting buffeted around, trying to stay low to the ocean to desperately see something. We were supposed to have an escort destroyer, which he lost sight of. Everybody got the message, and this went on for a while. And then, of course, the next thing happened. Finally reached jolly old England. Oh, man. This has been a long flight. I'm glad you folks get the benefit of creative editing there. But oh my gosh, that takes some time. This requires a lot more discipline than I expected. So looking off my 12 o'clock here, of course, we have the famous White Cliffs of Dover. And this was not the end of his journey, unfortunately. Once he hit this particular point, there's actually a bunch of ships kind of along this road. And he basically had to find the airport, the aerodrome that he had to land at, which was kind of like the next sort of little thing that kind of went along. And not only have we been cruising for, more than a half hour, almost 45 minutes, actually, at this particular point. Woo, getting worn out here. But now we actually had to land. And of course, England at the time looks a little bit different than England today. It's not going to be as developed, which meant big wide open fields were just like everybody else's big wide open fields that you basically be cruising around and seeing. So my understanding, again, we don't have exact flight path, is they basically took a left here. Oh my gosh! I'm going to try to take a left here. And he's sort of, oh my gosh. Control. You must have control. And sort of made his way southwards here, trying to set himself up with an aerodrome. And it's, a little bit down this way, kind of a thing like that. And I would imagine he would have gone by, he would have waved to everybody. He was probably really excited. He's probably got a face absolutely covered in oil right now. And he's like kind of wiping his eyes. Like you got to kind of imagine that visual sort of a thing like that. He's been suffering through this. Again, I need to get up and stretch. My right leg is tense from holding down the right rudder this entire time. So, of course, at this particular point, things were looking pretty good. It took him 36 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm closer to 50 minutes. I think this model of this plane is slower, or he had a stronger tailwind or something like that, which made it a little bit easier for him. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward to the fun part, which is trying to get this thing back down on the ground. All right. Oh, my gosh. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry about that. I thought I had the wrong runway. All right. So what we have now is we got to get this thing on the ground. And if you look right off our 12 o'clock there, we can actually see our little farm strip. And this is not, oh my gosh, this is not an easy plane to fly. One thing I have to be very mindful of is basically not over G'ing it on the descent. Keep in mind, we're almost an hour. This was 35 minutes for him. It was an hour for us. So like I said, it's pretty good. I'm going to be very curious to see how much fuel we don't have left when I finally do settle this thing on one of these nice looking fields. Aircraft like this, of course, a bunch of different ways that we can get this one down. The safest way for us is just to slip, which is what I'm kind of doing now. And I can tell you from the slip right now that the slip would not be successful. We're basically still too high. I'm very tempted to just sort of push the nose over like that and get a little bit more descent. If we do that, of course, so what's going to occur is we're going to rip off the wings. We have a very, very, very low tolerance for being rough with this plane, which is the downside because that means I actually have to circle here. And I don't think I have a lot of fuel left. So, oh, wait a minute. The engine stopped. Oh no. So yeah. Gotta start. Nope, engine stopped. We have a problem. All right, so my engine stopped. That happens. All right, so now we gotta land. So we don't have a choice now. This would be pretty embarrassing to muff this one up at the last possible second here. But we're gonna make the best of it. My understanding is when they would land these planes, that they broke them most of the time. Like, it's not something like, ooh, I'm going to land it softly. It was bang, whoops, there goes that. Bang, whoops, there goes that. Bang, whoa, no, you don't. No, you don't. Nope, 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 no, you don't. No, no, steady, whoa, whoa. And as you can see, the brakes got left on and it mangled us. After all that. So that was a pretty crazy experience. I'm glad that I got to play with this one. I wish that it had a happier ending, but apparently the brakes must have set themselves at some point in the air, even though we didn't have brakes. So kind of unfortunate for us. The other thing I thought was very interesting was we got to our destination. Like I said, it took originally Bleriot only about, what was that? Something like, so like 36 minutes or whatever. It took us almost an hour. The other thing is we ran out of gas. I know that's just gives you an idea of how incredibly dangerous some of these things are. And it's just I don't know. That was a pretty neat experience. For those of you who are looking for an easier way to do it, there is an easier way to do it. Well, what did you think I was going to fly? Of course I'm going to take an F-35 to get there in exactly 10 seconds or so. And again, one of the things I love about stuff like this is it gives you a great opportunity to see what exactly it was like back then versus what technology today enables us to do. And that's kind of the general point that I was going for. Although my brain tells me I'm heading the wrong direction here. Woohoo! It's a fantastic tool here, and what do I do with it? Get horribly lost. Seems like something I would do. I just love pulling some maximum G's there. There's the English channel. There we go. Go ahead and I'll let that nose come up just a little bit. And we're on our way, just like that. So this is certainly a simpler way to get there. Of course, we have the latest and greatest technology at our disposal. But the point that I think is very interesting is it's been about more or less 100 years. And we went from a point where I almost got myself terribly lost there. And of course, I flubbed the landing on account of the fact not doing what I was supposed to be doing as a pilot and checking to make sure the parking brake, which I'm not going to ask any questions on that, was not set in such a way that could possibly interfere with what we are trying to do here. We actually got to come to the left here. But the reason I thought it would be kind of interesting to sort of grab this one in the end is just to give you an idea of just the differences in technology that we have kind of at our disposal. Oh, I got to pull a little bit harder to my left here. There we go. That's better. Kind of swing this way just a little bit. And again, this entire journey that, I kid you not, it took me about an hour to complete. I can look over here on my right. I can safely say that it's going to take me about 3 minutes to complete this flight or so. I can see the navigational equipment is happily. I got my little tactical flare there that I can actually come bring that up like that, so I can have a good little look at it like that. So I can see exactly what is going on. We'll go ahead and level off at a 10 grand here. I think that's plenty of flight for us. Push that nose forward a little bit. I'm already pushed to Mach 1 here. I'm coming up to Mach 105. And again, I'm just going to kind of enjoy it. And we'll, of course, skip our trip until we get to about the landing point. And, of course, we'll go ahead and do our little overfly break there. You can see that lovely little grass strip that's chilling right off my right. We've got our speed brakes out to make our life a little bit simpler. But, yeah, that was basically 3.5 minutes. It took me longer to intro this video than it took this F-35 to basically cover that entire distance. So, go ahead and I'll pull myself into a nice tight turn here. We're going to go ahead and dirty up the airplane as I finish up my turn. We're going to press hook STVOL mode, bring up the power, and we'll swing it to the right just a little bit, nose up, speed brakes out, pull the nose up, and just like that, so we're able to basically descend our aircraft as if it's a dainty butterfly. And you can see that's our little airplane that was traveling, remember, it was about 45, 50 knots. We're doing about the same speed now. And incredibly, we are still completely in control. I'll actually bring up the thrust here. We need just a little bit. We're in ST-vol mode because we're a little too heavy for a straight up landing here. But you can see there's my little spot right there. I'll go bring the power down. I'll let the nose kind of gently ease its way down just like this. And all I have to do is bring it on down to a safe, gentle landing. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. I'm going to actually pop out the speed brakes. Goes up just a little more. Again, we got a lot of weight on this right now, so that's interfering with our ability to set this thing down gently. And we're here. Et voila. See that? Of course, that engine probably wouldn't want to be that close to dirt. We'd probably suck in pretty much everything in this field here, give you an idea of how not safe it would be. But it gives you an idea of just how incredible we have a journey like we had that one back in the day. And here we are, like I said, about 100 years later, with something like this, able to make the same journey in a heck of a lot less time. Enjoy.